we start recording. And then I'm supposed to say something about some legal matter, but I don't remember what Tim says, so I don't give a fuck.
There's a legal thing? I don't even...
I don't know. There's supposed to be... I forget, he always says, like, oh, right up here, it says, let everyone know that they're being recorded. And then there's a link for more privacy info. But Skype, I don't give a shit, so go to hell. That's what I say to Skype. Go to hell, Skype.
Boobs.
Boobs. All right, so how does Tim usually do this? He says, let's get things started. Let's get things started with episode. Episode. I don't have my notes. Jeff, what episode is it?
Look through my notes here. I don't think they see. Hold on. I got paper notes this time.
Neither of us have notes.
It's not in my notes here. Just being so obnoxious on the microphone right now.
What episode is it, Jeff?
Something to do with when a man and woman love each other.
When a man loves a woman.
Sometimes they will gift each other at the same time with
Jeff,
their face holes.
Jeff, it's episode 69.
Yes!
Nice.
I made it. I said I wanted, as a joke, I said I wanted to be on this episode, and it happened.
Yeah. Kyle's not here, so Kyle misses out, and I guess after this you guys quit, so...
Yeah, pretty much. This is like the peak of current gen right now, I think. It's just two dudes.
It's the sexual peak.
That weren't even like the original hosts of Fathers of the Grind at all.
So when last episode you guys were like officially joined, and it's like like overboard, like 5 dudes on here rambling, and now we're just down to like you know.
Everybody said I don't want to do it anymore now that there's 5 guys.
Yeah. We're doing we call this back in the day, Colin and Greg would call this a fireside chat. So we're gonna call this fireside chat episode 69.
69, giggity.
Yeah.
Giggity.
So I'm Dan. Obviously, I've been here for a while. This is Jeff. Jeff has joined us occasionally here and there, but he's officially sort of, I guess, permanently new. So welcome, Jeff. How are you doing today?
I am now a fixture.
Yes.
Much like in episode in number 69, there are fixtures that you would
Yep. Things that protrude
and put in your oral cavity.
Yep. Well, which
Why
one?
am I going so specific on this? Is like the least PG version of this podcast.
Because you know what, Tim is the dad, and the dad's not here, so things get weird.
Dad,
all right.
Yep. The dad left the kids in charge.
Everyone's away, so the kids are ready to play.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some games. I have notes. We're going to do this real professional.
Yep.
Because if we have no guidance, then this is just definitely going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And we don't
very
want
professional notes. I tried to contribute what I could.
You did. I appreciate that.
Saw you put some stuff in there too.
I appreciate that. I did have a segment that I was going to do with a group of us, but we're going to wait on that because it's better with more people. So that is a to be continued. So
okay, that's good. I was going to say, you having only one person for that would be like really weird for any segment.
Yeah. It's not like a trivia segment. It was more kind of like a fun, just like, what the heck is this sort of segment? But it'd just be more fun with most of us, if not all of us here. So, but yeah, so we'll just get
joining in a little bit too, because you said you'd be home in 20. So,
oh, did he? I didn't even see that. Okay. Well, good.
This might be one of the shortest episodes ever. Who knows? I doubt it though. We have a rapport. We're not just like, yeah, that's good. All right, let's move on.
Hey, as long as there is an episode, because I'm not messing around. None of the schedule nonsense. All right. Time means money, Jeff. Time means money, and by money I mean we don't get paid for this. So
yes, time means literally just time. That's all it is.
Our free time.
Right.
So I'll start off with I added this. Just thought it would be fun to throw out there the new games that came out this week.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the 2 most important ones were Scarlet Nexus and Mario Golf Super Rush.
Yeah.
I did throw in some Metacritic scores. I was going to update it, but it looked like, were you updating them too? Or?
Yeah, I was, because the reviews trickled in throughout the week.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because I was gonna like an hour before be like, what's the updated? And then I saw that they were changing, so I was like,
these are as of yesterday, Saturday. At the time of this recording is Sunday, but Saturday, I updated the scores on that.
Well, Scarlet Nexus is sitting at a 79 right now. So, and actually, before I even say the score is like, for me, Metacritic, I'm not like, well, Metacritic is the end all be all. But I think it's just like kind of a good general, like, well, here's all the collective scores and the average. So just
it's
kind
a
of like
tool. It's not supposed to be a Bible. It's a tool. So that's how I refer to that in Rotten Tomatoes. It's like, well, it's a good gauge to see where everybody's at on something.
At the end of the day, don't be a moron. Use your brain. Decide your own things. Have your own opinions.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, Scarlet Nexus is just shy of being a B- if we're going to use school grades. So that's not bad. And Mario Golf is sitting at 75, so that's not bad either. I've heard the adventure mode in Mario Golf is a little weak, so maybe that's what's contributing to that.
That's the only thing I've touched, which is disappointing to hear that it's weak. So I guess what was getting praised then? Just like the general multiplayer when you play the established characters?
That it's just, in general, it is fun.
It is fun, yeah.
It plays well. It is fun. It mechanically is sound. I am curious, and I mean, I'm guessing you didn't try it yet. The what's that, like battle golf mode or whatever it is, where you have like powers and stuff. Okay, all right. Well, you need to do that, so then you can bring it up next time, Jeff.
That was teased in the opening, whatever you want to call it, video segment or whatever, where people are kind of throwing stuff at each other, like banana golf balls or whatever. So, I don't know. They're kind of doing
and like Luigi has he's like ice skating because he's literally using like a ice flower and he's like shooting ice around. So that was what I was most interested in. So.
Yeah, now I got to try that out. But I'm sure that's definitely something that's more beneficial in speed golf, where you have to run to your ball, which I have done that at least. But I only touched on adventure for like a couple hours, so I didn't really do a whole lot except for an hour of it was like training or like rookie stuff. But that is the career mode, and
we'll discuss that more. We'll discuss that in more detail in the now playing watching section. I just want to also throw out that Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, which I thought looked kind of interesting, but then as time was going on, I was kind of like, ooh, it looks a little rough. And right now it's sitting at 56 on Metacritic, so that's not super great. That's a bummer.
It's not. I was kind of excited to touch it at least because I wanted to touch it a little bit. I wanted to diddle the game.
It's on Game Pass.
So it's on Game Pass. Yeah, exactly. You can do it for free. You can diddle for free.
For free. Yeah.
Free, quote unquote. Yes. Kind of like Netflix, you can watch movies for free. That's what I mean by
everything is free, Jeff.
So I was kind of eager to check that out, and I downloaded it and installed it. I still did all the basic stuff you do to get a game, but I never touched it because everything everybody was saying kept scaring me away from it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, time is valuable. So why waste time playing something that's not super great when you could play a Mario Golf or a Scarlet Nexus,
games which came out have fun value.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with playing. I mean, maybe you end up really liking Dungeons and Dragons. That's fine, but
56 isn't. Yeah, it could be lower.
Yeah,
if it were really that bad.
It could be lower. Yes, absolutely. And Legend of Mana Remastered came out this week as well, so that's higher than Dark Alliance. So that's it's an old PlayStation 1 game that they've remastered. It looks beautiful.
That's a PS1 game?
Yep, it was PlayStation 1.
The remaster looks good, yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I think it's the environments have been redone, so the environments look really sharp and clean and really painter-esque. And then the actual character models look kind of like more older, like still sharp, but like kind of pixelated a little bit.
Yeah.
To kind of give it that nice aesthetic. Because I don't like what they did with the they remastered something else recently. Was it Romance Saga, or I forgot which one it was, but they remastered another older PS1 game recently, and they had it backwards. The character models were like super clean, and then the background was like kind of old looking, and it actually looked kind of weird. So I don't like what they did with that one, but what they did with
you're definitely not talking about Final Fantasy Remake, that's for sure.
No. I
think I know what you're talking about, because was it last year you're talking about?
I think it was actually this year. It came out this year. Romance Saga.
I thought you might have been talking about Mafia for a second.
No, it was a Square Enix. It was Square Enix. It was RPG.
Okay. So I might not have touched it then. Okay.
Yeah, I think, or Saga Frontier. Okay, there we go. Saga Frontier remastered. Yeah, I don't like what they did with that. The character models just look really weird against the kind of like older backdrop, like the backgrounds. But for some reason with Mana remastered, I think it looks really nice. It still just kind of fits. It feels cohesive. It like visually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't pick up that one. But
I didn't either, but I did see some gameplay footage because I'm not familiar. There's a lot of games I missed out on, especially in the PS1 era, because I never owned one. But the gameplay footage did interest me, so I might pick it up sometime.
Yeah, that one's only $30, I believe, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
So at some point I'll, whoever wants to. I mean, I definitely will be picking it up at some point. But I primarily was playing Scarlet Nexus this week. You said you played a little bit of Mario Golf.
Yeah.
So we can just hop into the now playing and watching. So where are you at in the Mass Effect trilogy saga?
The trilogy is done. I finished the trilogy. It was my first time playing it. Felt like I honestly, legitimately was so worried that I would have to end up playing this game until like the end of the year. Like I was like, there's so much freaking crap they throw at you, especially when you start the games, where your mission log is like just freaking so long because you keep overhearing conversations and inheriting missions from those conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like 3 a lot. It's really tough. It's so tough to pick a favorite because I like all 3 do kind of different things with the narrative and gameplay.
Right.
I just like all 3 a lot. And I understand people's disappointment with the ending because it's like, even if you work really hard to get every possible ending option available, there's only 4 options, which is kind of like, I mean, I guess you could have had more or whatever. So it's kind of like a Telltale type of scenario where you do all these things and make all these different choices with your characters, but ultimately the end game is the same thing no matter what. You know what I mean? You have 4 choices and that's it. That's what Telltale would get criticized for sometimes with their games.
I think the difference between like this and those though is the scope of Mass Effect is obviously way bigger than
absolutely
than a Telltale,
Yeah.
That's not it. So like to me it's like at the end of the day, it's like there were 3 games that were developed separately. I mean, obviously they're sequels to each other, but they're 3 separate games, and it's like it's a space odyssey. It's like there's just so much going on. There's so many characters that you meet. There's so many things that happen. Especially in part 2, like a bunch of characters can die. So,
dude, yeah,
it's like you got to take all that into consideration.
Even Shepard can die if you do 0 like loyalty missions. Like your Shepard can just eat it at the end of Mass Effect 2. And then Mass Effect 3, you don't have anybody to really... You can probably import the appearance, I would imagine. But you can't import your character. Like, you would just have to start over with Shepard.
Okay.
Which is kind of a bummer. I don't know how you would...
That must not be like an official ending, then. That might just be that you die and then you start that final suicide mission, then? Or...
I don't know how they work it. I think you just start with a fresh Shepard, and I have no idea how that impacts your established relationships with certain characters in the game. Because I mean, it's critical that you do the loyalty missions for some characters in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
From 2 to 3, I mean. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I get the disappointment, but I wasn't disappointed. I thought it was kind of made sense. Cool. It was poetic for Shepard. Yeah. Considering all the work, and especially like if you approach the game a certain way for all 3 titles, like I did. I was a Paragon all the way through. I was like Mr.
Mr. Goody
I'm fighting for peace. Yeah,
which is what I do.
My main thing was I'm fighting for peace. I might do another playthrough, make him a renegade that hates all things AI, and it'll be a totally different playthrough.
Sure.
So I mean, I had an option available that was like, okay, well, this feels like the obvious choice based on the way I was playing the game, so it made the most sense. But the word I'm choosing is disappointment for some of the people that were disappointed. I don't understand outrage at all in regards to this.
Well, that's the internet and just the human race in general, Jeff. Yeah. So I mean,
that's true. They do love to romanticize their outrage, especially when you have an outlet for it.
Sure.
And I mean, and you create your own echo chamber for it, where everybody's just like, yes, I hate it too. I hate it too.
I get being passionate about something. Like, I mean, I'll use Final Fantasy VII Remake as an example. I'm definitely highly critical of just the franchise as a whole because I love it so much. So to me, I have high expectations. So I guess if Mass Effect, the series, is your Final Fantasy VII, and you had expectations as each one was coming out, and I don't know if for some reason the ending just rubbed you the wrong way. I mean, that's fine, but like,
yeah,
to carry it over into the internet which people do about all sorts of things, it's always silly. But
and
like,
to kind of force them to do like was it a DLC or something? Because I played all the DLC
they
together.
Yeah.
Or something. So I don't understand the outrage to the point of making the creators like compromise what they originally released. That doesn't make sense to me. I will say, in terms of Mass Effect 3, that contained DLC in it that when you play it, you go, how was this just DLC? Like, this should have been in the game. Like, that's insane to me.
I never played any of the DLC, so I don't actually know what any of it entails. But
there's one. There's two critical ones. I think there's three in total. I don't remember the third one at all. Okay. But there's one that's called Leviathan, and it's about the freaking creators of the Reapers.
Oh, okay.
And it's so critical to the freaking story.
That sounds important.
Yeah, it's so important. And the other one's just a perfect send off to all the characters. It's called Shore Leave, and there is a shooting stuff mission or whatever that just you beat and it's no big deal. But after that, you have to like arrange a party with all the crewmates that are still alive, and you do individual meetups with them around a certain like hub on the Citadel.
I vaguely remember that one, I think.
Yeah, so that one's like that's a good one. It should have been in the game as like I did it right before the final mission, so it felt like a very final conversation with everybody, even though that opportunity does come later in the final mission itself.
Yeah.
But that one had more meat in it than I expected. I think that took me like 3 or 4 hours to beat because I wanted to make sure I got to everybody. I didn't expect that to take so long. Otherwise, I would have totally played Scarlet Nexus.
Sure.
Yeah, but
you got to finish
3.
The fight.
Yep. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, you got finishing this fight or whatever Master Chief says.
Yeah. However many times he said it, because he just
he never finishes a fight. That's the joke. Halo Infinite. That's why it's called Infinite.
Yeah. He will be infinitely finishing this fight. He's just stuck in a loop, and by the end of it, he's just gonna be like, "Kill me."
Oh my God! There was one moment in the Mass Effect 3 where there wasn't not in a cringe way. There was an action movie line where I killed one of the main bad guys, like the mercenary or whatever, and I did it in a renegade way because he was trying to sneak up on me, and it prompted me to renegade, and I was like, "Screw this guy! I'm gonna kill him right now!" And I stabbed him the same way that he stabbed Thane. Spoilers, I guess, on Mass Effect 3. And he goes,
well, again, any character could die. So,
and that's what he says. He goes, "That one was for Thane," and I was like, "Oh, that's." That the Shepard voice actor, sometimes he reads lines corny, but I was like, oh, that was so earned. Yeah. Because when Thane got killed, that hurt. That hurt when he died. And
that's the sort of bug-ish looking dude, right?
Yeah, he kind of like fish-like, more than Quarians, because Quarians kind of look like they're in a freaking aquarium suit or something. Yeah. He's like lizard-like almost.
Yeah. He's super cool looking. I like his aesthetic.
Yeah. And his character background is so freaking cool. Like the Hanar, which are the guys with the big muscles that can't really walk. Like they're like big muscly, like looking. I don't know. It's really hard to describe them. They're on 4 legs and they can't really walk upright because their front arms are so freaking large.
Sure.
And they talk like very monotone, and they introduce their sentences with.
That sounds familiar too. It's been so long since I played Mass Effect,
But the Hanar trained Thane to be an assassin because they can't fight for themselves. One of the Drell things that they have, quirks, whatever you want to call it, perks, is immediate. They can recall any moment from their life, like as if it's happening right then and there. They'll be like, they'll go into a trance and start recalling the color of where they were, the scent, like the atmosphere, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's a really cool character, and he had a really tragic. He was already dying by the time you meet him in 2. He had some syndrome or something that the Drell race gets. Yeah. Dude, love 3 and immediately moved on to Andromeda, which is my background if you're watching on Skype or YouTube. And Andromeda is a totally different game, man. It's kind of a welcome thing though. Like the dialogue options are more open. They're not so much binary. It's more like you're either inquisitive or you're emotional or there's
there's like, so it's
4...
not like good guy, bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Gotcha.
there's more options there, and it's not so much cover based shooter. It feels like the camera's more overhead, so you can see more. You can definitely take cover and stuff, but it's more kind of like you need to be on the move because the enemies will flank you really quickly.
There's a lot of like jetpack type stuff, right? From what I remember.
You finally get thrusters in your suit, so you can you can even hover. It's definitely based more on exploration. If there ever was a Star Trek game that was like good, I feel like Andromeda could be it, but I'm only just started the game, so
sure
that could come back to bite me later. I remember when people were, again, outrage is such a sensationalized thing nowadays. I remember when people were like, the facial animations, online.
Sure.
I don't see that issue at all. I'm playing it on PS5, the PS4 version, but
well, it's also been updated.
I assume so. Also, it helps if you play it right after the trilogy. Even the Legendary Edition has weird problems with the way the mouths move when people play. So it's really, you can tell the games are older and they were just remastered. When you go right to Andromeda, I'm like, oh, I can see emotions on their faces now. Like, it's just a totally different world, it feels like.
In
terms of animation. Even though you can tell it's a PS4 port on PS5. But it still looks better, runs better. You can just tell the Mass Effect trilogy itself was a little not that old, but a little old.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 gens back now at this point. So.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
So I'm just all on board on this franchise, man. I didn't...
Good.
I've been waiting a long... I put it off for a long time, not on purpose or anything. It was just I knew it was a large undertaking.
Yeah.
And I knew I would be freaking obsessed with it. This is just one of those things. Yeah. You're like,
well, good.
This is one of my favorite franchises ever now.
Yeah, because I know, and especially, with you hopping right into Andromeda, I know Derek praises it. He likes it definitely more than the general populace did when it came out. So.
I think Tim likes it. I think that in general, when it was just the two of them, I don't even know if you were on the podcast yet. You might have been when Andromeda came out because it was 2017.
Yeah, I don't think I was, but I
remember sure they were on this. Both of them were like, "That's a fun game. Like that's actually good," and it got a bad rap just because of. It was a different developer at BioWare, like it was a different team or whatever.
I wonder if that hostility carried over too from the way Mass Effect 3 ended. It was, people are just still angry,
Possibly, and the fact that it's just pacing wise, it's totally different. Like you have maps now. When you go to a planet, you have maps. Like you can be like, okay, your main mission's over here, but if you explore and walk around enough or drive around, depending on where you are, there's like a whole other like caves or alien facilities you can go to and search.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds cool.
Like it's very Star Trek-y because it's more about exploring where you are and looting.
Which is one of my biggest gripes with the first 3 is like it just kind of it's like it's like the Space Odyssey, right? It's just space is infinite. It's like just I understand the technology kind of held back it being bigger than it was, but
probably
it just felt very restricted. It's like, oh, I'm just kind of like going on this like static screen and I'm moving my ship to this planet and it's I don't feel like I'm like doing like this No Man's Sky type of like I would want it to be like No Man's Sky. Like that's what I would want.
Right. Yeah. But nowadays, if you made a Mass Effect like the original trilogy where it follows more of a narrative, I would definitely want it to be not that Andromeda doesn't follow a narrative. I'm sure there is one, but it's more about settling in a new galaxy somewhere.
Yeah.
But if it had that strict, rigid narrative, kind of like Mass Effect does, it would have to be way more open nowadays with the technology that we have. But even Mass Effect 3, which was the more recent title in the trilogy, like what 2012, 2013. We had Grand Theft Auto 4 by then. We had 4 or 5 by 2013.
I mean, probably 5 because 5 is actually pretty old at this point. It just keeps coming out again.
It's coming out again and again. And it's like, so you have the option to do open world, but they were just kind of like, yeah, but I would imagine the internal discussions were like, yeah, but like, this is the finale. Like, we can't just suddenly open everything up.
Yeah.
When we have to have the Reapers invade and have Shepard finish his story.
Yeah.
It just probably didn't make sense.
Well,
so I understand them doing it the way they did. And I appreciate what it was more like a Naughty Dog type of cinematic,
sure,
but more RPG based type of sci-fi adventure game. And I love this franchise, man. I'm in. I'll read the comics. Why not?
Well, hopefully the new one because I mean, we know that there's a new one coming.
Yeah. sequel, apparently.
Liara is in the trailer. So I mean, it's going to be connected to the original trilogy. That she picks up the was it N7 like kind of emblem or something off of the ground.
Yeah, and so that trailer when that came out, I had no idea who that was. Liara, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I think the games want you have multiple lover options, but I ended up going with her, and I think the writers want you to choose her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's not bad looking for an alien.
No, she's not. So. But she wasn't in game 2,
pretty
so
all
I was going with a rebound for game 2. She was
a rebound.
I went with the the classic definition of rebound. I went with Jack, who is the she's always shouting profanities and she's like kind of violent. So it was kind of like
the tattooed, violent, crazy, like shaved head lady.
Yeah, and she was more interesting than Miranda was just boring AF to me. So even though I like that actress a lot, guys, I like her a lot. 69.
She's got a nice butt. 69. Nice.
It's nice. But I went with Jack as a rebound, and then Liara brought it up in the DLC too. She was like, "You ended up, she didn't say bang, but she was like, you ended up banging Biotic with rage issues," and she lashed out at each other, and they're like, "Look, I'm sorry." And then after that DLC ends, you get back with Liara again, and in 3, you do have the option of continuing either romance really with Liara or Jack because they were my main ones. And when I break up with Jack, she's just like, it wasn't really going to work between us anyway. Like, she's just like, whatever. So it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, she's like, Shepard actually said, this long distance wouldn't have worked. And she goes, short distance wasn't going to work either. Like,
that's real honest.
Yeah. So honest. With Liara, it was like I specifically had her be the true love of Shepard the entire game, all 3 games. And it paid off brilliantly, and I think the writers intended it to be that way.
Nice.
Good. I'm just guessing.
I'm glad you have a new series to enjoy, Jeff. I'm more partial.
You mentioned, I think that Shepard. What does she pick up? Like a name tag or something that says Shepard on it? I don't know.
No, it's the N7.
Oh, it's the N7
emblem or whatever you want to call it. She picks something off, so it's like almost like debris or like something off of like the snowy planet.
The last time she and Shepard got it on before the final mission, episode 69. I'm just gonna keep saying that every time we mention giggity stuff.
Absolutely.
But maybe that's the last time they did it. She was able to birth some offspring, some Shepard offspring, some baby.
That could be interesting. Maybe you play the babies.
Maybe you play as babies, and you have to have the conversation.
Like Fallout 3 style, right? You play as the baby in the beginning. Did you play Fallout 3? Do you remember that in the beginning?
No. Talk about a series that I did play Fallout 3, but talk about a series that I never finished. I never saw those games through at all.
The very beginning of Fallout 3, you are a baby. Like literally, like you're a baby and in first person, and you're like in like this little play area. Like it's pretty funny. So. Good stuff. Well, cool. I mean, I still think Dragon Age is better, but to each their own, Jeff. To each their own.
Talk about a game that I need to play as well, because I've heard Inquisition is, same team, right? Same. Stop it. Stop. Such a dumbass. All right. My dog is so dumb. I can't even begin to tell you. It's like,
dude, he just wants to talk about how Dragon Age is better than Mass Effect, Jeff.
He loves flipping his beds over, and he doesn't care if there's room to do it.
Sure.
There's no room for him to flip the bed right next to me, and he keeps trying to do it, and it's like you're gonna knock over a bunch of stuff if you try it, dude. Idiot.
Anyway, animals are hooligans. That's what they are.
They're dumb. Let's be honest. What it is. They're adorable. I love them, but they're dumb.
They are.
You mentioned what game did you just mention?
Well, so I was saying Dragon Age. Yeah, I was saying that jokingly because people in the group will.
Yeah, I know it's been like a thing here, but I genuinely haven't played Inquisition yet, and I know it's a BioWare title, so I'm sure I would like it. I mean, it came out around the same-ish era or gen as Mass Effect 3, so
I'm hoping that they release. Well, so there's Dragon Age 1 and 2, and then there's Inquisition. So it'd be nice to have like a trilogy thing too. Although Dragon Age 1 and 2 were PlayStation 3, 360 gen, and then you had Inquisition, which was last gen. So obviously, kind of like two different games as far as like fidelity and how they run and engines and just how smooth they are. So like they'd have to do a lot of work with 1 and 2. But
looks smooth when I played like an hour of it, and I was like, this might be too much for me.
Yeah. It's fun. They're good games. I'm more partial to fantasy settings instead of sci-fi.
I get that. Yeah.
So I'm just
I'm a
sci-fi.
I'm a sucker for sci-fi though. So really am.
Yeah. So you know what? I just noticed I had Neo, The World Ends With You demo on here, but I actually barely touched it. I just popped into it, and then I realized I was like, oh yeah, I should probably actually just play Scarlet Nexus, so I have something to say about it.
Oh yeah, and it was a good call too because I couldn't get to Scarlet Nexus unfortunately. So
yeah, but yeah, it's Neo, The World Ends With You. There is a demo. Came out Friday. Your progress will carry over to the full game when it comes out July 27th. So if you're just not sure about the game, go play the demo, and if you're super into it, then just play it, and then that'll carry over. So that's super cool.
Is it
like
is it like a graphic graphic novel type game?
No, it's like an action RPG.
Oh, it is action.
I haven't even gotten
just text on screen and stuff.
No, so
the entire time.
I never actually played the first one, and this one I haven't gotten to any combat sections yet. But it is like it is like an RPG. So you're you know, you fight enemies, and you know there are stats and so on and so forth. But I just don't know too much about it yet. This one gives me heavy Persona vibes. Persona 5. So if you liked the sort of aesthetic and the vibes of Persona 5,
oh yeah,
this might be worth checking out. So yeah, I'd look into that. I'm
really upset by the title not being about Matrix, but okay, that's all right.
Yeah, well, don't worry, we're getting a 4th Matrix movie, Jeff, so we'll be okay.
I'm so excited. That cast is just insane. I can't wait.
He's a national treasure. You know,
Keanu? Yeah,
Keanu's a national treasure.
It's breathtaking.
Yeah, he is breathtaking. He absolutely is. I don't know. See, because you mentioned Derek might hop on, so I don't know if we should wait to talk about Scarlet Nexus. We'll wait until the end for Scarlet Nexus.
That's cool.
Do you wanna let me know why, for the love of God, you felt the need to watch Fast 9?
Well, I mentioned, guys, that I'm a sci-fi fan. No.
Did they go to space yet?
They did. They went to space in the movie.
Stop it. No, they didn't.
They did, for real.
For God's sakes.
I'm just going to leave it there, though, because, I mean, that's kind of a spoiler in itself, but I'll leave it there because they'll show you how they do it. And it's stupid. I mean, these movies get movies get like dumber and dumber, and this was like the review I put on Twitter. It was like they get dumber and dumber and less aware that how dumb they are. Like it's one thing to be aware of how stupid you are as a movie, but they feel very self-serious about everything that's going on, even though like
it's stupid.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like it's not, the action. Let's compare the action to like John Wick. John Wick has like practical action that with really cool, like badass moments in it that make you go, oh snap. When Fast and Furious does like quote unquote badass moments, it's like somebody doing like 50 flips in the air and then they land on a car and they're safe or something, and you're like, this is so stupid. It's so dumb and not badass.
Well,
it's
I think
too cartoonish.
The issue is when you go back to the first Fast and the Furious, it's like this is just a movie about cars, right?
Yeah.
It's about nice cars, and it's realistic. It takes place in the real world with real people that are just
the first 3 are all about racing.
Right. It's not defying the laws of physics and doing superhero nonsense. And then you fast forward to all these newer ones and they're doing superhero nonsense. And it's like, why? Why is this happening all of a sudden?
Quite literally, Hobbs and Shaw had Idris Elba be like, he was like he had super strength or something like that.
Sure.
He was on a drug that helped him get super strength.
To be fair, Idris Elba is pretty great, so that's fine.
Yeah, he probably has super strength in real life for all I know.
Yeah.
But Hobbs and Shaw was definitely, I would say that was the dumbest of all the Fast and Furious movies.
Okay.
In terms of the action, like it's just, this is so freaking dumb. I still say Too Fast, Too Furious is the worst one in the entire series.
Okay. So
at least F9 isn't the worst in the series.
Sure.
I guess that has that going for it, but it's not. I would say it's better than the 8th one. The 8th one is where Dom suddenly he's a bad guy or whatever, and you have to figure out why. And when we find out why, I'm like, that's it. No, I'm kidding. It's not. It's bad. Like his baby mama gets kidnapped or something like that, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I guess I get. I just didn't buy into the whole plot at all, even though technically I should have. But Jeff, so it is better than 8. But
I don't buy into the plot of any of it at all. So
no, it's so ridiculous. Now they're spies. They're all spies. Since 5, they've been spies.
Sure.
5 I thoroughly enjoyed though, because I felt like, God, I did feel like some of it was a little like aware of how stupid it was, and there were those cool action moments where like they were carrying a safe around or whatever when they were driving around with 2 Chargers and they were dragging a safe around, and the safe was just like going through buildings and stuff, and the way that gravity was like having the safe like go around. So that stuff was cool. The ninth one does have like super magnets or whatever that are attached to cars.
Sure.
So like they'll like flip a knob and magnets will like push cars away from them or make trucks flip over. So sometimes they do gimmicky stuff like that. They're like, oh, that's fun to watch, but it's wildly inconsistent what the magnets can do. Like sometimes it won't work or whatever. So I don't know.
I don't even think that's like, so like I'll see those parts in the trailer and it is what it is. Like I still think it's dumb because again, you go from the first one, which is realistic, to this nonsense that's just seems like superhero movies, but it's more like just like the actors just seem like these caricatures. Like they just seem like these hollow cartoon characters, and then you got freaking it's about family. It's about family. It's about family. It's like, all right, we get it. Like family, that's great. Like, why is
what up, B?
How many times can that be the theme and the thing that we're talking about? And
the ninth one is literally about family. Like literally, I mean, they all are, but it's we're supposed to believe that John Cena is Dom's
John Cena.
The whole movie, I couldn't see him. It was only
yeah. They said he was in the trailers, and I was like, where the hell is John Cena?
Where is he?
Where is he? I don't see like where's Waldo?
It's and there's the sentimentality of the series just getting worse and worse. Like I think the 7th one was the last one, and I was like, okay, I buy the sentimental stuff with because that was Paul Walker's last movie.
Yeah,
I bought the sentimental stuff in that one, but now the lines are just getting cheesier and cheesier in the worst way and delivered horribly.
Sure.
It's just
that's what I mean. And you can get that from the trailers.
I do this every single freaking Fast movie. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I can get that right off of the trailers. It's exuding terribleness just from the trailers of like the acting, and I'm like, what even is the point of any of this? Like, because like if you want to just make it about cars like back in the day, then it's like cool, cars are great. Yeah. You can have really cool like chase scenes and so on and so forth. But like, I mean, I don't know, Jeff.
They do use cool cars in it, but that's like they have to because that's how they started as a franchise.
Yeah.
But if they removed
now they're
all
obligated.
That stuff, you still would be like, I don't know. It's not that you would call it something else now because the series is so far departed from how it started.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're dumb and they have their audience for sure, but they're freaking dumb.
Well, Jeff, teach
the
their
movies
own.
are dumb, not the audience. The audience
well, I mean, to be fair,
to be fair, yeah.
9 movies in, and you're still, I don't know. That's fine. Whatever makes
conclude the main series. If I'm not mistaken, they're going to conclude it like with a 10th one.
Okay.
Or a 10 and 11. I can't remember, but the main series with Vin Diesel, they're going to be done with. Thank God.
I think Vin Diesel should just understand that the only real acting that he can do well is play Groot. That's pretty much the only acting he does well. And Iron Giant. Yeah.
So basically just stick to voiceover work, man. You got that stuff down.
Yeah. Yeah. The one role where you just say Groot in slightly different ways. And then the other one where they just alter your voice to be this giant like robot thing. Iron Giant is a fantastic movie, by the way.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's great.
It's a great movie. Well, I'm glad that you, for some reason, felt the need to watch it, Jeff. And if it made you happy, that's all that matters.
I had to give you guys I don't know that it did make me happy. But...
Well, if it made you feel anything at all, whether it was sadness or happiness.
Yeah, it just made me roll my eyes a lot, which I guess that's good to be like, oh,
they still have your money.
Like sometimes sometimes it's good to have a feeling like you're better than a movie.
Yeah.
As a person, you're better than a movie.
For as bad as this past year and a half has been, and we've all just been in a real dark place, it's nice to have that thing that kind of puts life into perspective, Jeff?
Yeah.
That life is actually okay, because your life could be a train wreck like the Fast and Furious series.
Yeah. So. You could say life is strange, True Colors.
And sometimes it's too fast, too furious.
Yeah, sometimes.
And things get real sexy.
And 69. Also sometimes they can get real F9. I don't know how that fits in. I don't know.
I don't know. 69.
69.
69. All right. So we'll jump down to the headlines just so we can give Derek some time in case he does want to jump in.
Yeah.
To talk about Scarlet Nexus. I don't have like a ton to say because I only played about 3 or 4 hours. I had played the demo originally, so a lot of my feelings from the demo have carried over into this game as far as, you know, what I feel about certain aspects, but we'll discuss that.
So I would imagine you probably didn't get super far into like the story for gameplay, new gameplay to get introduced, all this stuff.
So within 3 or 4 hours, a decent amount of gameplay things are introduced. But so far, I've just kind of gotten a better idea of like the characters. So you meet these new characters, and there's almost actually sort of a persona thing going on where like you develop relationships with them, and the relationships level up, which then levels up certain like abilities and things. So stuff like that. So but we'll discuss that in a bit. We're gonna talk general headlines. Not system headlines.
I think you added some, I added some, yeah.
So, the first one, which, Jeff, my fingers, both of my fingers, my toes, they're all crossed, Jeff. EA will reportedly announce an established IP revival next month because EA... Revival, which, I mean, apparently EA thinks they're so important that they need to dedicate an entire month to themselves instead of joining the E3 party, but that's fine. Motive Studio, EA Motive, which is one of their Canadian studios, is said to be planning an EA Play Live announcement that will make fans happy, quote unquote. And pretty much all of this, like the headlines, and if you're Google searching, like the screenshots that they were pairing with it, were Dead Space. Dead Space is amazing, so I am very excited. And if it's not Dead Space, I am burning EA to the ground, Jeff. I'm gonna go up to Canada and I'm burning it to the ground.
They'll be like, "Hey, what's this all about? Eh? Sorry.
Why is this a fire? Sorry."
Yeah. So they, this developer specifically, Motive, EA Motive, they did Dead Space.
No, so that was
okay.
Shoot, they closed the studio too, which is like
okay.
Not Respawn, because Respawn exists now. I can't remember what the hell it's called right now, but dude, like that was such BS when they did that. Like, so because it's like Dead Space 3 was already like, all right, this was like a swing and a miss. That sucks. Maybe just kind of rally and try again.
They could have rebounded. They had enough of a following.
And nope, they shut that studio down. So that was pretty terrible.
Stop.
But you know,
Visceral Games.
Yes, thank you, Visceral. They viscerally ended that studio.
They did shortly after Dead Space. They did a couple Battlefield games. It looks like, but not any notable ones. They did Hardline.
Yeah, so they didn't have a good run there towards the end, unfortunately.
Oh, they did the Godfather game. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was.
Promise.
Dude, when that was announced that they shut them down, like that was a huge bummer.
Yeah, big time.
But you know, if EA Motive can sort of replicate what they did with the beginning of that series, kind of just that claustrophobic, the aliens, the horror, the just the dark, you know, kind of being in a ship, and it's just like kind of like some backtracking, which I know can be like, I don't want to backtrack in games, but it made sense in that first one because it was like the Ishimura was not a tiny ship, but like there just wasn't a lot of wide areas to roam around in, so you were going back to these other areas, and those areas were getting like more infected, and like the necromorphs were sort of like evolving, and things were getting like scarier and more terrifying and like more dire as you were going through the game. So Dead Space is Dead Space. The first Dead Space is absolutely like top 3 like horror games of all time as far as I'm concerned. It's a fantastic game.
I didn't play any of them, and it's funny, I didn't play any of them until 3. Like me and my brother played co-op.
Oh, really? So you played the worst one?
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I didn't even beat it though, but that was my first intro to it, but I know that it's got tons of followers.
Yeah, I would love for them.
I really should have played it way more for sure.
I would love for them to remaster the first 2 and just honestly just don't even acknowledge the third one. Just remaster the first 2 and then have this one either, I don't know. Or I guess if this one's a reboot, then just you don't have to remaster the other ones. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully that's true. That would be amazing. So
that'd be rad.
Yeah. Next order of business. Square Enix's classic RPG, Final Fantasy IX, is being transformed into an animated series by the Paris-based Cyber Group Studios. The show will be aimed at younger audiences between ages 8 and 13, which is my one gripe with this. The goal is to begin production by the end of this year or the beginning of 2022. So, the notion of an animated Final Fantasy series, obviously I love Final Fantasy. That sounds cool. Final Fantasy IX is definitely one of the top Final Fantasies. I don't like that this is being aimed at a younger audience.
I think kids, man.
Well, I think, there are people want to say, oh, Final Fantasy can be corny, this, that, and the other, but there's definitely some adult themes. Just stuff that, perhaps an 8-year-old just really shouldn't be seeing or trying to understand, death and just like in Final Fantasy VII Remake, for example, spoilers, when the plate comes crashing down, how many thousands of people died just from Shinra doing that? So that's kind of kind of a tough thing to maybe for an 8-year-old to wrap their head around. So I don't know. I think if they're gonna do an animated series, I would prefer them to kind of do more like what they did with Castlevania on Netflix, kind of be more mature, not like super violent and bloody, but I just mean
Castlevania is very bloody for sure.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but steering it more towards maybe 16 plus year old, 16-year-old plus kind of show. So but we'll see.
Yeah, I looked up Cybergroup Studios. They haven't done anything I recognize.
Okay.
Unless they're all kid shows, then of course I don't know what they are.
Yeah. Well, then, if they do a lot of kid shows, that doesn't bode well, Jeff. I don't want some CG Mickey Mouse Clubhouse
it's
giant head Final Fantasy character.
It's basically Dora the Explorer but Final Fantasy. Congratulations. There's your TV show.
I'd be so pissed, Jeff. I'd be so pissed. Although that could maybe get those kids to be interested, so as they get older, then they're like, oh, there's an actual game, so maybe it steers them in that direction. I don't know. I'm just trying to put a positive spin on it, Jeff.
Yeah, why not?
Positive spin.
And this series is going to be Netflix, or they didn't say yet?
Didn't say. I honestly don't know if it's actually official. I think it's just a rumor at the moment. But I thought it was interesting because, it's Final Fantasy, so So we'll see. Next one. New Borderlands 3 update allows crossplay, but not on PlayStation.
Of course, because they don't want to do that.
And increases level cap. So that's cool.
So I included that because I know that I don't know if you played Borderlands 3, but I know that
I didn't.
Okay, I know that Tim and Derek did for sure, and they liked it a lot. So I wanted to put that in there because I know that people really, really like that game. Some of them put it as game of the year for that year, even though there were definitely better games that came out that year, but whatever.
Of course, absolutely. But,
But some people did feel very passionately about that game. I wanted to throw that out there in case y'all did not know. You can do crossplay now, and your level cap is way higher. So that could open up certain things.
Again, unless you have a PlayStation, because PlayStation doesn't want to play nice.
Yeah.
They don't want to play nice.
Well, that's okay. They'll keep making their millions. What does it matter?
Honestly, Jeff, as the quote unquote Sony pony of the group, I think they need to get their head out of their own behind and just play ball, because it's just good optics at the end of the day. I get it, you're doing the best, but then you're gonna make more people happy because they're cool, Sony's playing ball, we're all just getting along and everybody can play with each other, stop doing these dumb PR things that piss people off.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so dumb.
So whatever. It is what it is. Aliens Fireteam Elite gets an August 24th release date. Will be on consoles, but not on Switch, and PC via Steam.
Yeah. Can't wait for this game, dude. This is a 4-player, 3-player game.
Is that kind of like the Diablo-esque perspective?
No. This is over-the-shoulder third-person shooter.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Yeah, they did an extensive demo. I think IGN did an extensive demo with the developer. One of the IGN guys and then 2 of the developers played together. Okay. And you have to hold your own against a ton of aliens, running at you on one of their stations or something, on an abandoned space station or something like that. So it's kind of like
Left 4 Dead vibes, maybe?
Left 4 Dead a little bit.
Okay.
World War Z type game. It's kind of like that, and each person, you do have specialists, roles you could take on as a medic or whatever, engineer, I don't know, stuff like that. So you can prepare to actually fortify your defenses.
Cool.
For a wave of enemies.
Yeah.
It looks like a fun time, like kind of like Left 4 Dead was, yeah, I would definitely want to play this multiplayer with some friends.
Yeah.
What friends though?
You find them online, Jeff.
Yeah.
I want to play that Back 4 Blood game because I never
Dude,
played Left 4 Dead because I didn't have an Xbox. But Back 4 Blood looks super fun. So
I played Left 4 Dead. I played on PC. I played that in the second one on PC, mostly the second one. Me and my brother got so much playtime out of that, dude. I mean, oh my god, the multiplayer experience is so much freaking fun on those.
Yeah.
I mean, especially you have to to get the full benefit of the multiplayer experience. You have to be on chat to have the most fun with it. Playing with strangers is a nightmare because, like, sometimes me and my brother would tag up with 2 other people or whatever, and they would be so awful. It wouldn't tell, like, they'd just be like, oh god, they're down again, let me go heal them. Like, it'd just be so ridiculous.
Were you communicating with them?
Yeah, no, we weren't talking. We had our own chat going. So at a certain point, we just switched it over to, because you can get like CPU allies instead.
Okay.
So we ended up going that route instead. And I guess I got a text message. Sorry, didn't realize I didn't have my phone on.
How dare you? So unprofessional, Jeff. So unprofessional.
But when you're on chat together, you can just kind of be like, I'm being overwhelmed, and you can kind of shout out, when there's a witch or something like that. Is that what they're called? Witches or whatever? They're like the zombies that if you sneak up on them, they just pounce on you.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are like crying or whatever. You can hear them. And if you hear some crying, you stay away from that crying. Or else if they catch you, they'll just jump right on you and you're dead like within a second. It's a nightmare. I don't remember if they're called witches or not, but Back 4 Blood looks like it's going to have way freaking more of those type of big baddies, that are like, oh no, not this guy. And
and I think taking the Alien universe and putting, kind of mixing that with the Left 4 Dead formula, I think could be fun for sure.
Yeah, so. I love Alien and Aliens are just top notch. I haven't seen any of the Alien movies past Aliens, the James Cameron movie.
Okay.
But I love that as a setting for a shooter. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. I mean, the fourth one is not the best, but the third one wasn't bad.
There are some big names in the Alien sequels that are involved in the Alien sequels. Like they went on to make big names for themselves later. I think David Fincher directed one of them. It was like one of his first movies. I guess it's good to start out on a bad note, and then it's only uphill from there. Because he's only been making great movies since then. And then I think Joss Whedon, I know he sucks as a person or whatever, but he wrote one of them, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote he wrote Resurrection or something. And the director of that was some like famous like artistic French director. And everybody's like, why did he do this movie? Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Jean-Pierre.
He did Delicatessen, which is like an arty WTF type movie. I got to find his filmography because I know he did something else. Amelie. He did Amelie, which is like a very bubbly, like love, French movie. It's like a love story or whatever.
I mean, kind of alien vibes. Kind of alien vibes.
Yeah, it's very alien, I guess, to Americans. But it's like, what? This doesn't make any sense. He did City of Lost Children too. I did see that one. That one is freaking weird. So he's only done weird movies, and for him to go to that, it's a blockbuster movie that was written by Joss Whedon, to Amelie, weirdest palate cleanser ever. It's got some, like I said, big names attached to those. Some of those sequels. I don't remember what came after Alien Resurrection though.
I think that was.
Was that it?
Sure, there's 4 altogether.
Was it really?
They did this Covenant, which is the newest one.
Oh, you're right.
It doesn't have it doesn't have Sigourney Weaver in it. So
yeah, you're right. So they switched to Prometheus.
Yes.
I have a whole other thoughts on those movies. Those movies are just a mess.
We could discuss that at another time. We'll discuss that when this game comes out in August.
It's a shame that I had to drop that and we have to move on because I know that there was a recent thread in Current Gen where everybody was defending Prometheus and Covenant, and I was just in the background kind of rolling my eyes. Like, these movies are so freaking frustrating.
So for like, I'm not like super into like, I don't read like all this stuff about the lore of the Alien series. So like Prometheus honestly didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
it's just there's characters making the dumbest decisions possible.
But that happens in so many movies. I mean, like horror movies, for example. I mean, like, I'm running and I'm gonna trip and fall all the time. Like,
yeah, I just watched F9 and they make some of the dumbest decisions ever in that movie. Or they talk dumb, I should say. It's not that characters make dumb decisions; it's that they talk dumb.
Yes, they talk stupid.
Whereas in Prometheus and in Covenant especially, characters are just making the dumbest decisions, and you're like, how are you this genius space aeronaut engineer? And you're like, yeah, let's just go down this planet without helmets on. It's no big deal. Let me go. I'm gonna go diddle this alien cloud or whatever and see what happens. And you're like, what? Why are you doing this? You're supposed to be geniuses.
You wouldn't do that? No? Okay. Apparently you're way smarter than all of those fictitious characters, Jeff. So.
But then some of the lore stuff that they did try to drop in at the nuggets of lore just weren't enough for it to make sense for me. Like,
sure.
When I finished Prometheus, for example, I was like, I feel like I have to do a lot of Googling to make sense of what the heck I just saw, because they didn't really explain it in the movie. At least to me. I don't know. Those movies have defenders. I'm not opposed to that.
Speaking of space, Jeff,
mm-hmm.
We'll move on to the Microsoft news.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite devs, quote unquote, very committed to holiday release date, per Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
You know what, Phil? That sounds great and all, but like I don't care until the game goes gold and the game's already in the store. So this means nothing.
And it's funny. I think they're going to try to align it with Windows 11 coming out, because
sure.
And that's another bit of news for Microsoft, the world of Microsoft. They did have a Windows 11 showcase, and they also said no release date. They gave a window of holiday 2021.
Cool.
So I wonder if they're trying to align those, because Windows 11 is going to have a ton of gaming features that the Series X already has, like in terms of auto HDR, faster load times via direct storage, which is already on the Series X, and the xCloud stuff, which I don't know if that's been live or not. I'm pretty sure that's might still be in beta or something. But they're going to integrate that into the Xbox app first, so you can do like cloud gaming, I guess.
Okay.
And just everything's just going to be way faster on that operating system. Like, just general performance. The browser's going to be faster. The operating system updates aren't going to be so freaking massive. It's going to be smaller and just, faster, stuff like that. So because the Xbox integration into Windows is so important to some of their, customer base now, I feel like Halo Infinite's going to launch with this.
Okay.
So they can play it on this brand new operating system super fast, and it's going to look amazing according to and for Series X.
They're tossing out the word fast here and there.
Yeah.
Getting real loose with the word fast.
Yeah.
Is this Windows 11 only going to be compatible with like
SSDs
some really decent machine? Yeah, or SSDs? Like,
I think all of everything, not everything, but most things performance related does depend on your hardware, of course. Like,
right.
They do have on their website, I think they did release minimum specifications.
Right.
So you do have to have certain things in terms of your GPU and DirectX capabilities and RAM, hard drive, all that stuff, to get the most benefits out of Windows 11.
Yeah.
I think the best part of this too is they're continuing their user-friendly type of marketing, or whatever you want to call it, because all Windows 10 users are apparently eligible for an upgrade for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Which is rad, and I think my computer, because I just got my computer last year with my Biden bucks. Earlier this year, I should say.
Biden bucks.
So I'm definitely going to be getting it and trying out some gaming on it. Maybe things will run better for me.
Yeah, I'm curious if my 4-year-old laptop would be able to handle it, but I'll see when they release Windows 11. Well, I'll see what it, if it can handle it or not. So
I hope it's good. I mean, because I work with Microsoft, like I work with Windows all freaking day at my job,
right.
7 and 10. I hope this one's not a Vista. You know what I mean? Because there's always like one version that you're like, God, this is the worst.
Dude, I had Vista for a good while.
Yeah.
And
I never got
really I didn't have issues with Vista. Like, people hated Vista. I was like, I don't understand why people vehemently hate this operating system. Like, it works fine for me. Like, I don't know.
I think it was a hardware issue for me. Like, I got it on a laptop that was kind of cheap at this place, Micro Center. I don't think they exist anymore near me. They might, because of the pandemic or whatever. I'm not sure what's closed and what's still open, but
sure.
That thing was just slow as molasses. I just had all the problems in the world with it. Then I take it back. I did buy another desktop that did have Windows 8 on it, and then like not even a few months after I owned it, Windows 10 was like free to everybody, so I just got Windows 10 on it. Immediately. Like I was like, let's just upgrade this. Windows 8, it's not great. They had to like, they were trying to gear you towards getting a tablet. Remember when they kept going advertising Surface tablets everywhere, like on TV shows, everything. And that's what Windows 8 was like a tablet friendly operating system. Okay. And when their tablets didn't really take off because iPads were still running the show on that market, they had to roll out an update that's like, okay, here's a start menu that you're used to now. And it's like, that's just embarrassing, dude. Like, that's just embarrassing.
So embarrassing that they had to just skip 9. They're like, we're not going to even go in like numbered order. We're just going to go right to 10 because like,
I bet 9 is 10. More tablet crap. So they were just like, let's just go to 10. Yeah. And 11 aesthetically, just for a comparison, it's going to be more like kind of like the Apple. Well, I guess Apple's more customization friendly. But it's going to be more like the Apple home screen when you log into your computer, where all your icons are in the middle of the screen. Like the start menu and the taskbar icons are going to be at the bottom middle of your screen.
I'll have to check out some screenshots. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Doesn't look too different than Windows 10, so it's not going to.
Are they going to let you switch though? Because people don't like change. So I would imagine, like, especially like say an older person, they just happen to get a new PC when this comes out. And they're like, why is this different than the one before?
I did see some screenshots that were like look like old Windows 10. Like everything's on the far left or whatever.
Gotcha.
Far bottom left.
Customization's always good because like if giving people options is always just gonna alleviate any sort of complaining because then you just have all these different things that you can do. So
I've definitely noticed that as part of Microsoft's constant updates with Windows 10 is like we're gonna give the users way more customization options now. Which I'm like, God, because when it was like Vista and 8, I couldn't do anything. But now it feels like I can do way more stuff in terms of customizing my start menu and moving icons around and Yeah. Thank God.
Customization's good, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why you added this on here, but we're just gonna read it. Space Jam, a new legacy game announced.
Space Jam
coming to Game Pass July 1st.
I'm sure it's a song that goes with Space Jam, and I can't remember it because I didn't listen to it. I believe I can fly. Yeah, there we go. Christ. Space Jam. Yeah, but this is apparently an Xbox exclusive. Look out, guys! In a few days, Space Jam New Legacy coming to Xbox.
This is just the beginning, Jeff. The exclusives are going to start rolling in after Space Jam. They're just going to start flooding in.
That's the peak, honestly.
Jesus Christ! All right. Do you wanna read off that other Microsoft bullet point, or do you?
The last note in there is STFU Derek, but he's not here to relay that note. At least not yet.
That's fine.
Maybe he will be.
STFU Derek, very important.
I think that should be the episode title, but I don't know. I don't want to.
It should.
I think the episode title should just be 69696969, like over and over and over again.
Yeah. Or you type out the words 60 and then 9, but the eyes, there's like 50 eyes. So you're 69, you just keep going,
Or just call it, or just title it nice, because that's like the reply everybody gives on Reddit whenever 69 comes up. They just go nice, and then it's like a thread of just nice.
It is nice. It's real nice.
It's real nice.
Yeah. So the only bit of Nintendo news is my Monster Hunter Stories demo is now live. Similar to the World Ends With You demo, the save data will carry over to the game.
Yeah.
I don't have the date. Do you remember what the date is of the actual when it releases? I think
it's like the first week of July. So they launched this demo very close to release date.
Okay. I know it's soon. I just couldn't remember the date.
Yeah, it's the 9th. It comes out the 9th.
Okay.
On the Switch, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, honestly, this needs to be a thing more often. I think it's super cool to, like, first of all, demos are just fun because it's just like, if you want to try it, then go ahead. But to actually carry over the data, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so. I do respect when developers make that. It's a very conscious decision, I feel like, that they're doing that. That way you're like, but I made all these choices, and especially games as big as this where you have to get an inventory going.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. Moving on to Sony news. So here's a juicy rumor. Ghost of Tsushima expansion later this year, titled Ghost of Ikishima.
I think that's right. Ikishima, yeah. I think
Ikishima.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Set in the Japanese islands of Iki, or Iki. I don't know. I'm not Japanese.
I think it's Iki.
Iki, south of Tsushima, just off the coast of the mainland, will feature in next PlayStation showcase in the near future.
And again, this all of this is rumor. So the verbiage that was typed in was as if it was the rumor, but apparently some guy, I can't remember the guy's name that is pretty reliable as a leaker and stuff.
Whenever I see that, I'm like, okay, sure.
He's on Twitter or something, but he'll post something, and he's been pretty adamant that there's going to be a showcase very soon around the corner.
Yeah,
that's going to contain this and something else that's pretty massive.
I'm trying to. I'm probably not going to find it. I was trying to see when that last free DLC, it was free, which was awesome, came out that had the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
that was, dude. Yeah, when I saw this, I think Kyle actually shared this with me, and I was like, "Oh, I got to put this in the notes." I was like, "Dude, if it's as good as the multiplayer, this is gonna be like one of the best expansions ever made." Because we're talking about potentially a whole new map. Like that's like right. I put it in there for a reason that it's south of Tsushima, so it's not going to be in that island. You're going to be on a totally different island.
So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer mode Legends came out in October 2020. So that's not that long ago. So I don't know if it was like a much smaller team like on the side was working on the multiplayer, and then like the rest of the team was working on potentially this expansion or whatever.
Sounds like Insomniac. This is Insomniac, right? Yeah. No, it's not. It's Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yep.
But I mean, they're going places, right? So
they are. It just seems like
they could have
really soon. It just seems really soon.
But also, Ghost of Tsushima was a 2020 title, correct? Like, didn't we? Or was it 2019?
Yeah, during the pandemic. Yeah, it came out during.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, it did. Because Last of Us 2 came out, and that was like the whole debate. It was like, which one's better or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ghost it came out in the spring or something. I'm trying to remember the dates. I don't remember exact dates, but I felt like when the multiplayer launched and it was extensive as it was, I was shocked at the turnaround, not just the turnaround time, but the fact that the quality was so freaking good. So I guess they're just pouring excess resources into all this. And I feel like it's going to be reliably just based on my impressions of the multiplayer at launch and how smooth it was. I mean, it's going to be amazing, man. It has to be.
Ghost of Tsushima came out July 17th.
And in October we had Legends.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude. That's insane.
Maybe they've expanded. I mean, fingers crossed if they release like kind of like this expansion thing, like a Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales type of thing.
That was in my head when I compared it to when I heard the news. Was like, oh, it's a Miles Morales Lost Legacy type 4 to 6 hour or even 8 hour affair.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't say, I don't think it said what systems, right? If it's PS4, PS5 or
it might, I would imagine it'd be both because they want it out. According to the rumor, if you want to believe it, it's supposed to be this year that it comes out.
Well, I'm one of these proponents that like I get that if you haven't bought a PS5, like that sucks, but like I just want these games to start being from the ground up built for PS5 because like Ghost of Tsushima was like gorgeous on PS4. Imagine that like the sequel or whatever.
Imagine
like,
it just PS5,
ground up PS5, like that's gonna be bananas.
Have they done an upgrade yet? Like everybody, like a lot of other people have. They haven't done a.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I
wonder if they'll be like, by the way, whenever the next showcase is, they'll be like, by the way, there's an update waiting for you on the store now for PS5.
I think there was, but I'd not. Hold on, a PS5.
Do they even need one? The game is so gorgeous.
Yeah, and it loaded pretty fast too, even on PS5. Ghost of Tsushima.
I still need to check out Last of Us 2's update, which I heard looks. I mean, it already looked amazing on PS4 Pro, so I can only imagine how amazing it looks on 5.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there is an update at the moment. So.
Oh, okay. So I wonder if they're saving that for the showcase, and I feel like that'll be like a same day type thing. Like it's already updated, because that's what they tend to do at those showcases, where like when there's an update.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So Insomniac hiring for new multiplayer project. No word on if it's for an existing IP or new game.
Yeah, I think this is worthy of news because Insomniac is just doing amazing stuff right now. So I'm really into this. Like, yeah, I'll play a multiplayer game. I don't even give a crap if it's like some free-to-play bullcrap that I normally go, I'm not going to play that.
Or something within the Ratchet and Clank universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Considering what they've done with Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man, I'll play anything they do. I mean, like, seriously.
Dude, Spider-Man is so good.
Dude, it's just so amazing. And you were already a Spider-Man mega fan before the game, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, imagine how over the moon you had to have been.
And
Miles Morales, like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally just the fighting, like the acrobatics just put a smile on my face. Like I'm just like playing and I just have a dumb little kid smile on my face, just him hopping around. Like,
yeah, and I love
so fun.
what made me extra happy, especially after having seen Into the Spider-Verse with
Yes.
Miles when he's flying around or fighting. It's always like he's kind of accidentally being good at stuff.
Yeah.
And they purposefully animated him that way. When I thought that was brilliant because he's brand new at the whole thing.
Yeah. He's just learning. So
he's like, ah, and then he like, he webs a building or something, and you're
it's like his version of being clumsy. Like whereas you and I would just like trip over like like the curb or something. Like he's like doing still crazy amazing things, but he's kind of like fumbly about it. Like
these guys are so brilliant, dude. They're just they just understand what they're doing. So I'm hyped for a multiplayer type project that they're gonna be working on. I mean, it's probably gonna be like 5 years away, but still.
We'll see. And then the other rumor, God of War Ragnarok gameplay reveal in next PlayStation showcase. So I don't know, Jeff. I mean, that seems like a insane showcase if that's the case. But that could be like their E3, right?
It God could of War be because like the last Ghost, showcase was only about Horizon, right? So this could be the E3 thing that they do.
But it would be crazy to have a rumor where it's talking about gameplay where we haven't actually even seen any footage whatsoever. Like I would assume a teaser, like a cutscene teaser type of thing, not even gameplay.
Well,
so
when they revealed God of War, the new one, 2016, 17, whenever the hell it came out, when they revealed 17. That at E3, it was a gameplay demo, and it was like 12, 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing something kind of like that, but they did just do a title reveal, so you could be right. I mean, because I don't see the gameplay changing that much. You know what I mean? Like if they just
add to it, just improve.
Yeah,
just add and improve.
They shouldn't have to because it already plays amazing.
Yeah. I think maybe just suddenly... I think maybe just make sort of the level the way the levels are constructed like a bit smoother. Yeah. It's like I felt like there was some backtracking that was just kind of clunky in that one. Like but like
it's hard to find a legit criticism that I have on that game.
Yeah. I mean, like it's at the end of the day, like that's just kind of like me trying to find something.
Trying to find something that they can.
It's an amazing game. So
yeah. Apparently God of War Ragnarok, even though it sounds like an amazing title, isn't even the official title. Every article I read, they're still like, "That's not the official title."
Right?
What else is it gonna be? That's such a good title.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not that, we're gonna be like, "That's stupid."
Yeah. God of War, something, I don't know, Happy Days or
Thor's Revenge, which would be a little excessive, or like the Wrath of Thor or something like that. Actually, that's not bad. That's not a bad title.
Wrath of Thor. I don't know.
Wrath of Thor.
That sounds a little. That sounds a little MOBA.
T-H-E.
It sounds a little MOBA.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sounds like a MOBA.
Wrath of Thor.
I don't know, but that would be a pretty solid. Like if they did those two things, it'd be like, all right, so Sony came to their sort of approach to E3 was this, and that would be definitely pretty cool. That would definitely.
The fact that there were so many state of play or showcase rumors abound about new games or whatever, especially big titles like this, has me thinking that there's definitely something around the corner. Because there's been several different insiders. I think the God of War one came from somebody specifically on Twitter that's been reliable with their leaks. But there's been several articles you can find that are like, there's a state of play coming soon. State of play coming soon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully so. And here's another rumor I found from a few weeks ago, actually, that also says that they're working on a God of War trailer for a presentation in the summer.
Well, as far as I know, right now, it's just EA that's officially doing something in July. So if Sony wants to try to, nudge
I can see them doing something in July, and they tend to only announce things a week in advance. Like with Horizon, they did like a week in advance or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple weeks. They don't need more time. They're Sony. Everybody's going to watch.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, people were hungry for like the an E3, so people just want to watch this stuff. It is exciting.
So EA, is it next week or something? Or I didn't even check when they were going to be doing something.
I don't know when in July. EA Live,
but they're considering it part of their E3 EA Play.
That's just like they're not like calling it that it's E3, but like it's just when they're doing their show. So
kind of like last year when all these developers, whatever you want to call them, did their showcases and stuff or conferences. It was all spread out throughout the summer. It wasn't like
which I did not like. I did not like. So July 22nd.
Yeah, I just looked it up too. July 22nd. That's a while away.
Yeah. So end of the month.
I leave it up to PlayStation to come in and be like, we're gonna blow you guys out of the water. Sorry, EA.
Yeah, right in the beginning of the month, just sneak in there with a God of War. Dude, if they snuck in there with like a God of War and a Ghost of Ikishima or whatever, it'd be like, I mean, unless they did, do the Dead Space revival, whatever it was, like that would be the only thing that I think could be like maybe somewhat, hold up against a God of War. And
the fact that we're getting these rumors, yeah, dude, I feel like if they do another State of Play, I do feel like, if it's a matter of when, really, but I can picture the Ghost expansion opening it and the God of War stuff closing it. That's how I can picture it going around. Going on, like, because Ghost would be like, this is an immediate release, right? This is like literally coming this year, if we're to believe the rumor, and God of War would be
next year.
It's already been pushed to next year, so that would be like future type thing. Yeah. So that would be, man. Fingers crossed, man. I love hype. So
yeah. that Huber energy.
Yeah.
That Michael Huber energy. I don't know if you're Easy Allies. Yeah. Yes.
I like that guy.
Yes, he's a good guy. So, I guess we'll just got nothing else news wise, so we'll just kind of go into.
I didn't really touch on Mario Golf a whole lot, but if you like golf games and they're kind of cartoonish, more cartoonish the better, then you'll like Mario Golf. There's really not a whole lot of substance to what I played yet, but you mentioned a certain multiplayer mode or something where
it's like that mode where you're sort of battling and like racing to the next hole.
So there is it's called like Super Rush. There is a rush mode where you're just rushing into your ball after you hit it, and that's just regular, and you can run into your opponents or whatever. So the mode that you're talking about might be a more battle mode where like as you're running you like hit somebody with like a
there's like power ups and stuff.
So that sounds really fun. But all I did was adventure mode where it's your me avatar, and you're not really talking or anything. It's just noises, meh, wee, meh, that type of stuff. And,
sweet.
It's fun.
Like Mario
it's
barely
fun.
Talks, right? So
it's kind of a odd palate cleanser compared to Mass Effect. Like, it just, the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, I just want to play Mass Effect.
I mean, two very different types of games,
Yeah, I'm just addicted to the whole Mass Effect type of game right now. It's just same thing happened with Outer.
Play Dragon Age. Just jump into Dragon Age.
I might as well. I mean, if it's like kind of like the only difference is it's really fantasy.
It's sword and shields and magic versus shooting. So like in a fantasy setting.
The RPG elements are kind of like the same. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, I mean it's an action
dialogue
RPG, just like Mass Effect. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Relationships.
I might
do it.
I'm just super into these games that are just like super.
Do you like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, for the love of God, go play Dragon Age, Jeff. Just for the love of God, do yourself a favor and go play Dragon Age.
All right.
It's great.
I'd probably start with Inquisition though. I don't know if they're direct sequels of each other.
They are.
They are. So I probably have to brush up on, because the older ones feel a little too old for me right now. So
technically, each one has a different main character, but like, I mean, it's taking place within the same world. There is like sort of like a through line as far as like characters returning and like kind of crossing over and things like that. So, the very beginning of Inquisition, there's a character that's talking to someone that is from the second Dragon Age. I'm pretty sure he was only in the second Dragon Age. So, but I mean, it's a lot of hours to invest in. So, it's up to you.
I'm all about a big game right now, man. That's Mass Effect felt like massive. Well, quite literally massive.
Yes.
Every game was either 30 to 40 hours. And I still beat all 3 games. I beat it. And that's like a total of, I don't know. I don't want to do math right now. It's too many hours.
Well, I mean, so whatever, play some more Mario Golf next time. Have a bit more specifics. Please do that like battle mode, whatever, because that seems hopefully like the most interesting aspect.
I'll get my hands dirty on Scarlet Nexus too, because I definitely want to try that. The gameplay does appeal to me, even though I don't necessarily play anime games a lot, but I do like action-oriented games.
Well, Jeff, in the thread, you were being snarky against anime, and I don't really appreciate that because anime is amazing. So, you know
it's
what?
Just because it's fun to, I don't
know. People,
to poke the bear, I guess.
So, like, I'm definitely more of like this kind of a nerd, video games, anime, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And my wife's not. But during the pandemic, I was like, you know what? Do you want to like maybe try to watch some anime? And I know what like her interests are. She doesn't like a lot of violence and stuff like that. But like we watch some where like, I like anime where there's definitely like fighting, like a My Hero Academia, mm-hmm. Or a Naruto or something like that. So where there is combat going on, but there's also like a really deep story and a lot of characters and just like a rich lore. So I'm super anime, and I got her to watch some of those. And, again, she wasn't a fan at all. She had never really experienced it that much, aside from like just kind of seeing snippets here and there. But yeah, she likes, she likes some of the ones that we watch. So
awesome.
Even if you've never experienced anime is very accepting.
Studio Ghibli is like the only anime I really watch.
That's high quality stuff. So I mean, that's good to,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one that's, I don't think it's Studio Ghibli, but it's definitely, inspired by that line of work.
Sure.
It's or at least the sentimentality of it and the world.
Yeah.
God, The World With You, is that the name of it from last year? And the one called Your Name, which I really liked.
Yeah.
I think it might be called The World With You, but it's about a girl that controls the weather. The World With You. Is that what it is?
The World Ends With You is that RPG that we were just talking about.
I mean, I probably got that on my brain, dude. I swear to God, there's an anime where a girl controls the weather and you have to...
That does sound very familiar. I know I've seen the trailer for it. I can't remember the name.
Or not you, but the character like uses that to get money. Like they're like, oh, it rains here all the time, so she like makes it like sunshine or whatever. And it's got a lot of heart to it. It's a great movie. It reminds me of those Studio Ghibli type neighbor talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of those movies. Definitely, when you see the trailer, you're like, oh, this definitely is inspired.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they made their mark.
But Scarlet Nexus is not inspired by Studio Ghibli. It's definitely a bit more violent. It's a darker world.
Weathering with you. Sorry.
Weathering with you. There you go. So Scarlet Nexus, anime aesthetic. So if you're into that, that's a plus. It's an action RPG. I would say as far as the way it moves and the fluidity is a little more leaning towards like a Devil May Cry, like kind of more like fast and frenetic. But it does have RPG elements. But when you're stringing attacks together, and I don't know if maybe I'm just like not timing it right, it's not as fluid as Devil May Cry. But there are different moves that you can do in the middle of combat. But so as far as the actual story, so my one gripe, and I mentioned this about the demo, and having played the game now for about 3 or 4 hours, that definitely just seems to be how they sort of deliver the story to you. Is the main thing that I have an issue with. So traditionally, when you have a cutscene in a game, it's you see the character models, they're standing around, they're talking, whatever. It's like it's in game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This game, what they like to do is say the character is kind of walking along with someone, and then it's almost like it takes like a screenshot, and then it frames it. And then you'll see like the sort of the portraits, a left and right portrait of just their faces. And then the dialogue pops up and it's just their faces kind of slightly animating and they're talking to each other.
Yeah. I've seen that before, yeah.
So it almost kind of gives me, so it almost looks like a Metal Gear when they're doing the codec. When they're, conversing through the codec when Solid Snake is talking to, I don't know if you've played Metal Gear, obviously.
No.
Right? No, you haven't played Metal Gear?
Remember, I didn't own a PS1, so like.
God damn it, Jeff!
I couldn't get on that. I couldn't get on that train. I couldn't if I wanted to.
Apparently, Jeff doesn't understand what I'm talking about with codecs.
but I know that I've seen those in especially anime type games before, where it'll be like they'll come in the screen and they'll talk.
Well, like the Tale series does that, but they kind of they have like almost like a full portrait that'll take up a lot of the screen of the character, and there's like slight animation. But like for me personally, like. And I understand that requires more of a budget, and maybe that's probably what the issue was. They just didn't have the budget to do full like in-game character model cutscenes. But it's disorienting to me because like there are some cutscenes and they'll be acting them out, but then suddenly it's just static images with like faces sort of, kind of like their mouths moving a little bit and talking. So it's just I'm not feeling the way that they're sort of delivering the dialogue in that manner. But it's not a deal breaker. The art is very nice, like the detail, and again, if you're into anime and you like that style and that aesthetic, then that still kind of works for you. It's just more of a personal preference. I like seeing the characters like acting out a moment and kind of like emoting and things happening. So, but other than that, the combat is really fun. It's like I said, an action game, so you're hitting square a lot. But you do triangle, which does sort of like so there's two main characters. One of them has like telekinesis. Well, they both have telekinesis powers, but one of them's a little more close range, which is the male character Yuito. So he has a sword. So he does almost sort of like the triangle kind of like he'll throw his sword like with his telekinesis out. So sort of like a mid-range attack, and then it comes back to him. So
cool.
And then the main thing about an hour into the game, once you start having party members, and they had this in the demo, is you can sort of borrow like an ability from your teammates. So Yuito and I think it's Kasane, the other character, the female character. I think it's Kasane. Telekinesis is their main ability, but say you have a party member that has pyrokinesis, has fire abilities. You can borrow that ability for a limited amount of time. So if you hit R1 on the PlayStation 5 controller and then you hit like wherever the that ability is designated. So if it's designated to square, then you hit square and then it triggers, being able to use that ability. You can start attacking them with with fire slashes. And some of the enemies will like spit out oil. So if like they get caught up in the oil, then you're doing extra damage to them because, you're hitting them with like a fire attack. So I kind of like that sort of incorporating of elements.
Oh, that's cool.
It kind of reminds me of what was that free-to-play game that just came out recently that was like Breath of the Wild-esque?
Genshin Impact?
Yes, thank you. Genshin Impact. So in Genshin Impact, there's like a huge emphasis on that. So like if like a goblin had like a wood shield and you're slashing it with like somebody whose main element was fire, then you set the shield on fire. Or if you douse them in water and then you use a character that had like electric powers, then you can sort of like fry them and do some extra damage. So it's kind of in this game, it does a little bit of that. So you can borrow the powers from other characters and mix and match. As you level up your character, it seems like you can even combine like two abilities. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I was like reading the skill tree and I noticed that you could have like two abilities going at the same time. So then that's just giving you even more options as you're doing the combat.
Oh, cool. I like how varied it sounds, and it's not. I mean, obviously, there's an element of it that's button mashing, but you have combo options available, which is really cool. Like it implores you to do that, to pursue those options.
And then you kind of sort of have the additional thing of the telekinesis. So like you have square, which is main attack. You have triangle, which is sort of like a mid-range, sort of like hurling your sword. But then if you're incorporating your telekinesis, so when you're running through the environment, you'll see like cars or debris or whatever highlighted with R2. So if you're kind of slashing and then you jump back and you hold R2, Yuito will pick up that object and hurl it at the enemy.
Oh, wow.
And then you can sort of mix and match different things. So like if I'm just like hitting square, I'm just mashing square. But at the same time, then I start holding down R2. Then you do like a sort of slightly upgraded telekinesis throw. So like basically this sort of like it shows you in the tutorial, but they kind of encourage you to try to remember to use your telekinesis, but you also need to do your basic abilities because the basic abilities builds up the meter to allow you to do more telekinesis. You can't just infinitely do the telekinesis.
Of course.
It's actually designated to a meter. So you need to do the basic attacks, but you also do want to incorporate the telekinesis because it might like it'll disorient the enemy. So then, kind of giving you a window to do some additional attacks and so on and so forth. And then I just learned this, I just gained this new ability, which I don't know if you've seen some of the images where the main characters, they look like they have like a hood over their head. And then their face almost looks like, I don't know, like kind of like pixelated. But
I have.
I think it's called like brain drive, which is sort of like a boosting of like enhancing the character. So at some point, and it happens automatically, but you get to a certain point when that meter fills up, and then you can do additional damage. That telekinesis meter slows down, so when you're using it, it doesn't deplete as fast. So it just kind of enhances your character for a little bit limited amount of time. Yeah, this is all stuff that they basically start dishing out to you a little bit at a time, even just in the first 3-4 hours. So, and from, I think it was the Easy Allies review I was watching, they said each, because there's two main characters. So in order to get the full story, technically you do have to play two separate portions. Okay. And I think they said each one is 25 hours. So it's not a short game.
Wow.
So there's definitely a lot of replayability. Well, literally, because you have to play the other half of the game. But right. I think they said that there's like the new game plus. So I don't know if the stats from Yuito will transfer over to Kasane.
Or like the equivalent of those stats, maybe?
Yeah. They mentioned something about a new game plus, but in my head, I'm thinking new game plus. I'm not going to play as the same character again. I'm going to play as the other character. So I don't know if like that some stuff transfers over. But either way, if things transfer over, that definitely makes the second playthrough a little bit faster, a little bit smoother.
Okay.
So,
well, that's cool. I got to get my hands on this one, man. It doesn't sound like anything I would kind of either roll my eyes at or whatever.
Yeah. And I was mentioning
uninterested with.
I don't know if you played. Did you play Persona 5 or any of the Persona games?
I did play 5. Yeah. So I had a little bit of Strikers, but I haven't dived in that one a whole lot.
Okay. Because I think before we were recording, or maybe it was during recording, I mentioned that there's a little bit of the Persona in there as far as building up your relationships with your teammates. So there's like this hideout area. So like about a couple hours into the game, you come across this hideout area, and that's basically like your main hub. So everyone's just hanging out there, and you can talk to them, and you'll kind of do like these side missions with them.
Oh, cool.
So once you complete that side mission, then your relationship with them levels up. So then when you're using their ability to enhance yours during battle, so like the pyrokinesis, for example, when it levels up to 2, you can do some like additional damage, or it'll do extra stuff essentially.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of promoting, talking to them, so you can kind of have those additional buffs and kind of that extra stuff. So yeah, cool. barring a bit from Personas. So
yeah, it's a good template.
The enemy designs are kind of creepy. There's like actually these like just these little peon dudes, like these like basic little enemies, but they kind of almost remind me a little bit of something that might be in like a Silent Hill. It almost looks like they have like lady legs, but like the top of their body is like a bouquet of flowers. Like I don't know why it gives me Silent Hill vibes, but yeah, looks visually.
Well, that's creepy. Then I'm never gonna touch it. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't be a girl. Don't be a girl. But yeah, the enemies are called others. So I don't know a ton about sort of what's
that's
so
racist.
Much. Yeah. What do you mean others? Yeah.
Well, they got to be others.
Yeah. There's something called the extinction belt, and it's only come up once, I think. The extinction belt is something that just like appeared over Earth suddenly at some point, and that's where the others started flowing out of. So they had to create this. It's called the OSF. There's a lot of abbreviations in the game. The OSF is what you're part of, the other suppression force. So they're basically like the soldiers that are able to combat the others using, their telekinesis and all the unique powers that they have. But yeah, I don't know too much about why it's happening and sort of what's going on there, but obviously I'm still pretty early on in the game. There's kind of like a main hub area that's like the city. So there's like the headquarters of like the OSF, and you like walk out of there, and there's like some streets you can walk around. But it's not like an open world game. I don't really understand why the hub world's kind of like that. It seems kind of pointless. Again, especially since the way that they deliver the story, there's a lot of static images and stuff. It just seemed like they could have just had like, I don't know, like sort of like a map of the city, and then you like pick stuff and just kind of go there, almost like Mass Effect. But it's not, doesn't bother me. I'm kind of pointing out that it seems a bit pointless because there's not much to do. I think there's side quests. Maybe I've come across one guy that gave me like a side quest, but like,
that's it. Well, I mean, I'm sure maybe it opens up. I don't know.
But like there was nothing even distinct. I don't think on the map it was showing him like, because on the map it'll show like dots of people that you can't just walk up to and just hear random dialogue, and there was nothing like distinct about him pointing out to me that he was like a side quest. So I don't think side quests are going to be something that's like really emphasized. But they're there, so just mentioning that.
Okay, all right.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm type of person that with Mass Effect especially, I was like, I got to clear out every single thing that's in my mission, whatever tab.
I tend to be like that, but it's almost if
I'm a completionist.
Too overwhelming. Yeah.
Sometimes if it's too overwhelming, it's like a 100-hour game, and you're doing that. I don't know, man. Eventually I'll just quit and I'll just start doing, especially if I feel like I'm over leveled enough, I'll just end up doing main quest stuff.
Looking at you, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Looking at you, that game too much. Absolutely.
So it's when you beat it, did it still have side quests going on?
Oh yeah. Because I just stopped doing the side quests. I just stopped doing them. I was like, this is too much. I'm literally already at like 100 hours just story wise. Like I was doing some side quests early on, so that obviously inflated my playtime. But yeah, no, this game doesn't seem like it's inflated. So
no, yeah, the average hour length that I keep hearing. Well, I mean, it's granted it's for one playthrough is like 30 hours. So
yeah.
But so, I understand there's an incentive to play it twice.
So far, I'm not like it's not like amazing or anything, but I'm not like in any way offended by the game. I just
it's not like I don't think I'm going to continue it. Yeah.
I'm opposite of Derek, whereas Derek really focuses on the combat, and he will play a game that is, statistically, based off of reviews, mediocre. If he thinks it's fun, he'll like the game, and that's fine. And he'll skip the dialogue. Whereas I'm more story focused. I like a really good story.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I don't know too much about the story yet, but it does seem fairly interesting.
I'm with you to a point. It depends on the game, because if it's Forza Horizon, I'm not going to give a crap about the story, and I'm just going to get
Is there a story?
There's.
I mean,
you go to a festival and your driver does gain notoriety, and so I mean, there's some type of career mode, but Jeff, it's not. If
it's an RPG, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or like a character action game.
Yeah. But there are definitely some games. I mean, I definitely do care about story. I put a lot of weight on it, especially if a game is quite literally advertising itself as a story-based game.
Sure. Yeah.
But if it's just a Forza whatever or Riders Republic or something, I'm just gonna go do flippy stuff. It's not. Yeah.
If you're gonna tell me a story in a racing game, I'm just gonna probably chuckle at you. Right. I don't really care. I'm just playing to race. So.
Like, remember how Dirt 5, and I didn't hear any bad things about Dirt 5 or anything. Like, I heard it was okay, but Dirt 5 cast like Troy Baker and Nolan North in voice acting.
Oh, they were the commentators.
I'm like, is there a story? That's stupid. What do you do?
I think they were the commentators.
That's it?
I think so.
Right. That's weird,
but I mean, they're both solid voice actors, so if you can afford it, why not?
Troy Baker was Kai Ling in Mass Effect 3, and you wouldn't know that if you were playing it at the time that it came out, because Troy Baker wasn't like, I don't think he blew up yet as much as he does. Sure. He did now, and also he doesn't talk that much in it. Like he says like 3 things in the game.
Troy Baker talks a lot now because he has a lot of roles. So.
Dude, he gets every voice actor role.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in this game. He might be. I don't know.
He could be.
He's definitely done anime style games. He's
absolutely.
Trying to think. He's done a Persona character. I can't remember. I think it was Persona 4. I just forget which one.
I thought he was in a Final Fantasy, but I think they only cast.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was Snow from 13. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
But I think he was. No, yeah, Snow. Yeah.
But yeah, he voices anime shows in general too.
Yeah,
so
cool. Yeah.
Lupin 3, whatever.
But so that's about it. I'm sure by next episode I will most likely have finished one of the playthroughs, if not come very close. So I'll definitely dedication. I will have. Well, I'm actually off. My wife and I are off this week on vacation. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
I'll just have more free time to play. So.
Heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. Gotta love vacation.
I love the new release game timed with the vacation. That's fun.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. I this year, what I've been doing with my vacation time is I've literally only been spending it so I can be in the studio recording music.
Yeah.
So I'm not really doing it for, I mean, granted, that's not the whole day, but it's like 5 hours of my day.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've only been doing it with a purpose. It kind of almost feels like extra, like work a little bit, even though it's not. I'm working on something I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't wait to like kind of have that settled down. I think I have like 2 sessions left, and I might be done with at least this project that I'm working on.
Nice.
And I can't wait to have PTO where it's like I can just sit around and do nothing. Oh my god, it's gonna be so
the best. The best, Jeff.
I'm literally rubbing my hands at it because I haven't done it in so long. It's been since I started in the studio like in December.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a single day off that's been just a day off. It's been studio time.
Well, you need that free time, Jeff. It's very important. Yeah. It's good for
for gaming too. I love that stuff. Yes, I love it when it's like I have nothing to do. I'm just gonna game all day, take breaks for walking my dog and eating, and that's it. Those are just sometimes you just need those days that are just like I did nothing all day and it was great.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we went over everything, right? I'm pretty sure we're good.
And for 2 of us, we did a pretty good time.
Yeah, we did some yappity yaps.
Some yappity yaps for sure. We got enough 69 references in there.
Yep. I mean, there's never enough, but
no.
I guess it's adequate.
It's adequate for this show, I guess.
And now it's all downhill from here. Now it's just normal numbers, you know. Yeah. Well, if we get to 420, then we can be like, 420.
We might have to just skip a lot of episodes to get there sooner.
I don't think it works that way.
I don't know
Jeff.
If the planet's going to still be here by 420.
Hopefully not, Jeff. I'm done. We don't deserve to exist. Human beings are actually the disease on this planet.
Yeah. We were all worried about COVID. No, man. Yeah. Everybody should just stay away from each other. Humans are horrible.
Exactly. That's a good positive note to end on, Jeff.
That is. It's great. Human beings are horrible.
Yep.
Please stay tuned for next week.
You're all terrible. Thank you for listening.
You're all
Jeff,
if you subscribe to us, unsubscribe if you're a human being because we don't like you. If you are a virtual or artificial intelligence, please subscribe to us and give us all likes.
Tim doesn't do this, but I want to maybe just throw this out there just because I'm in charge right now. If for some reason you're still listening to us an hour and almost 50 minutes in still, if you do like the show at all, just go subscribe to us wherever you listen to. But I would appreciate the additional, I don't know what just happened to my camera. Maybe it didn't want me to advertise anything.
It's tired. It's really, I heard you self-promoting. No, we're not going to do that. Camera off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Hold on 1 sec.
Why am I hearing like what is that?
I don't even know. You know what? I'm not gonna even bother. Just subscribe to us on YouTube is the point that I was trying to say. Just subscribe to us on YouTube because that would help out a bunch.
Yeah.
Because we're almost at 100, and it would be nice to at least hit 100. So
they're almost at 100. Wow, that's impressive. We're almost at 100.
See, I feel like that's not enough, Jeff. We need
reviews on 5-star reviews on iTunes also helps a lot. Like not iTunes. What do they call it now? Apple Podcasts. I'm pretty sure Current Gen is on there. So
there we go.
Oh, nice. So it's just it does help. Like I'm on another podcast and we got like something like 60 5-star reviewers or something like that. And those numbers help immensely get podcasts seen or heard or whatever recommended. That helps them get it recommended in like the algorithm. So
yeah, exactly. God damn it. All right. You know what? We're done. This is ridiculous. Apparently Skype doesn't want us to advertise anything. So, all right. Well, Jeff, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
Thanks. No, thanks for having me again. I might continue thanking for the first few weeks that I'm a permanent regular guest. So, or host, whatever.
Yeah.
So get used to that.
Absolutely.
A little bit until I start turn against you guys and ask for my time off.
That's fine. As long as you actually show up on like a certain somebody, then that's fine.
Don't fall stay awake. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Well,
later,
take
man.
it easy, buddy. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.